Hey guys, Dr. Kahu here, welcome back to my channel. Now today I'm going to be doing a new what if, and that is what if Naruto acquired the 7 deadly sins powers, part 1. Now as usual guys, if you guys can please like and subscribe, leave your comments down below, leave the bell notification on so you guys can be the first to get my new content, and follow me on Instagram, to which I'll leave the link in the description below. And when it comes down to it guys, I've been watching the state of affairs around the entire planet guys. All I can say is from me to you guys is one, take care of yourselves when it comes to COVID-19, and when it comes to the situation that is happening abroad, when it comes to protesting or not, understand from my point of view guys, all people are equal, no matter who you are, who you identify with, or what you believe you are. I believe all people in this world are equal. We're all born the same, we eat, live, die the same. What makes us humans, okay? So that's my perspective on these things, okay guys? So take care of yourselves. And yeah, but without further ado guys, I'm talking enough BS, let's get into this new what if, and that is what if Naruto acquired the 7 deadly sins powers, part 1. Now, let's begin. So how the story is actually going to start late into the 7 Deadly Sins manga series. So if you guys haven't read near to the end of the series, please, I will tell you guys right now to stop this what if. Go read the manga so you don't get into any form of spoilers, okay? And then jump back into this one, okay? And not only that, just going to let you know you need to read the manga so you know exactly what I'm actually going to change to suit the narrative of the story anyway. So understand this technically does not happen in the manga, but is following along those lines of what happens technically in the manga. I'm just gonna reaffirm certain situations for my likeness, okay guys? So please bear with me. So just one more thing, if you guys have read the manga, please go read the manga, jump in, because spoilers alert, okay? So cool. Now right away we're gonna enter into the near the ending of the manga itself, where King Arthur himself wields Excalibur, and he is slowly but surely mastering the chaos energy that he has. Now he is with the 7 deadly sins, and he recently got his arm bitten off by a really powerful dark entity that he was carrying with him for a while. It was Cath, the cat that used to be on his head. It was actually a chaos entity, or most notably he was a creature from purgatory, to which is a chaos entity. I don't want to get too deep into the lore, but the chaos energy existed before the supreme deity and the demon king and the fairy king. If you go and blah blah blah, read the lore if you haven't seen it. Watch the anime, really great anime. But anyway, so Cath, the chaos entity, pretty much stole some of his powers and got extremely strong to the point where it almost killed King Arthur. Now in canon, Arthur figures out how to use his powers, and instead of Cath eating Arthur and taking the chaos energy, Arthur bends space to allow space to eat Cath, and he gets all the energy that Cath stole from him. So he becomes the ultimate chaos king, if you get what I mean. Now, and that's what happens in canon. But in this what if, in this narrative anyway, I'm going to change it so it allows a certain situation to be able to come into place for me to allow for Naruto's universe to get this power. Now, this is how it's going to go. Now, right near the ending to where King Arthur is about to banish Cath or eat Cath with his chaos energy, Cath uses the last of his abilities to pretty much undermine King Arthur and warp the area behind him. And as King Arthur realizes that, he gets distracted for a brief moment towards when Cath gets close enough to almost bite him completely. What ends up happening is King Arthur places his hands on Cath, and they both slightly freeze in a sense of chaos, or a sense of timeless chaos, towards the universe is warping out, reality is going in and out of itself, where nothing really is supposed to or truly exist or normal. And as King Arthur and Cath pretty much go through that struggle, and they just made contact with each other. This is where their struggle is. Merlin and the rest of the 7 deadly sins, because I told you Escanor is gone, unfortunately. What ends up happening is Merlin tries to devise a way for them to even remotely do anything, but due to the chaotic energy of these two chaos entities, they are nothing but dust in the wind, really. And as Arthur is fighting, he realizes that If he moves slightly or releases slightly, Cath will win, take the powers and wipe out all of existence. And what happens is Arthur needs to figure out what he can do to at least slow Cath down and slow other realms just in case, because he feels that he's left it too long and Cath has got too close to him for him to actually fully stop it. So what happens is, without even a second thought, he looks right to Merlin, and he connects with Merlin's mind, and he tells him that he's slowly but surely failing and he can't hold Cath back. And Merlin's like, what do we do? If you don't hold him back, we're all gonna die. And then what happens is King Arthur smiles and goes, yes, I know, so I'm gonna need your help with something. And she goes, what is that? And he goes, I want to give you a piece of my chaos energy. I will need you to sacrifice something for me. And Merlin's like, what are you talking about? And he goes, use your sacred treasure to bind all the 7 deadly sins abilities together within your sacred treasure, and then I'll place my chaos energy within it as well. So wherever this gets sent to, you will be able to guide the wielder with this power. And know this, Merlin, if we don't succeed, or if I fail with Cath, the person that supersedes this power will be the only one capable of stopping her, or stopping the cat itself. Please, Merlin, I need you to do this. I just come over that as quick as I can. I cannot hold this cat that's been off forever, so please make up your mind. Can you help me? And then what happens is Merlin looks back at her team, and they're floating in like a sort of suspended orbit. And as she looks, she goes, but majority of them are not what they used to be. 1, Escanol's not here, he's dead. And 2, Barn has lost his immortality. And what's it called? He smiles, he goes, well, that's not that hard. Because he has chaos energy, he'll just for the time being anyway, he revives a piece of what is Escanol and gives Barn his immortality for that briefest of moments, so Merlin could copy each and every person's signature power, all their sacred treasures, everything within her sacred treasure. And from there she was able to copy the grace of sunshine within her sacred treasure. She was able to copy King's abilities, Gotha's abilities, Deanne's abilities, Meliodas' abilities, Barn's abilities, Escanol's, and because she is gonna sacrifice her body and put her spirit within her sacred treasure, she pretty much gives her ability willingly. And from there, after Merlin does that and puts her spirit fully within the sacred treasure, King Arthur pulls the sacred treasure of Merlin, blows his chaos energy into it, and opens a portal and chucks it. And as he opens the portal, he doesn't know where this thing's gonna go, but he puts a destiny, he puts a pathway to this power. Only someone worthy of this power can fully unlock and achieve the true powers of the 7 deadly sins. Because understand, right now Merlin only copied a fraction of what was truly their powers. It's up to whoever wields this power to unlock it to this max potential. So as Merlin flies through whatever she believes she is flying through, and she's an orb, she's a floating orb with Merlin's spirit, with all the powers of the 7 deadly sins and a seed of chaos energy. And so as it flies through infinite form of what is reality, or in and out of space, time, nothingness, everywhere, everything, and absence, Merlin kind of drifts just into absence herself, goes, and the sacred treasure of Merlin goes into a form of sleep. And what ends up happening as the sacred treasure of Merlin finishes its journey, it lands, but it lands somewhere not far, somewhere where it is in a good position for, or to be found by, someone of unique stature. And so as Merlin's sacred treasure lands on this earth anyway, it landed in a peculiar area, and it was noticed by a certain person who at first thought nothing of it, but being not just curious but very wise and fond of things, this person took it on upon himself anyway. His name is Hashirama Senju, and the one where he takes it back to his Senju clan, and this is a young Hashirama Senju. He found this thing that fell to the sky, and to him he believes this is a good omen, not a bad one, and that everything he has put into motion will be successful. So what happens is he takes this unique rock that is perfectly round and actually has unique inscriptions on it. He finds it weird, but he keeps it with him anyway. He thinks it's good luck. He didn't see nothing bad from it because it fell from the heavens itself. And so from there, Hashirama pretty much allows this thing to fade in obscurity next to him. He just keeps it with him as an ornament, an item, you know. And as Hashirama goes through his life, he goes exactly through his life the same. This thing around him doesn't really do nothing but is an ornament. But what happens is he uses this thing as a special treasure, if you get what I mean. He for some reason, even though it does nothing, he feels a great destiny, a great power lies within. He can't explain, but he makes it a sort of Hokage heirloom, if you will, when it comes down to it. So as Hashirama, of course, establishes the Hidden Leaf village, and everything, and all the other hidden villages get established, and Hashirama catches nearly all of the Hell Beasts except for Shikaku. He goes on and lives the same. He lives and dies the same in the first great ninja war, I believe. I'm unsure, don't quote me on that. I'm just assuming because he was fighting Kakuzu at that time, to which I don't ever believe Kakuzu would even give Hashirama's big toe a fight. You know, Hashirama's just way too powerful. It's stupid to believe that Kakuzu could have taken one. But anyway, I digress. So what ends up happening is Hashirama goes through his normal life, his normal standings with Madara and all that, and he captures the Nine Tails. From there he dies and passes on the mantle to Tobirama, to which Tobirama gets this object. But unlike Hashirama, Tobirama is much more of a curious person. And so when Tobirama inspects this thing, he realizes that these are just not some certain inscriptions. These are writings. These are form of inscriptions that actually make a word, if you look at it, but not a word of this world. So as Tobirama over the years goes to decipher it, he copies all the runes that are on it, but he doesn't know how to place them in their correct sequence. All he sees them with what it is. So what he does is he places this what's it called, this sacred or this bloody orb that the first Hokage had, and sealed it within the scroll of sealing. And only that, placed all the runic marks on the side, so whoever sees it and tried to decipher it, the next Hokage, at least they have a basis to work on. So what ends up happening is that goes on the same all the way to the third Hokage. He does the same. He opens it, figures it out, starts to write stuff down himself. So he adds upon the second Hokage stuff, and then it moves on to the fourth Hokage. Now this is where things are different, okay? Because the fourth Hokage that I heard was a prodigy in nearly everything he did. And even when Kushina taught him how to do sealing jutsus, Minato surpassed her, despite her being a pure-blooded Uzumaki. So let's take that into account, okay, when I'm going to place this situation in. Minato unseals the orb, and when he unseals the orb lands in his hands. He reads the entire description that the second Hokage and the third Hokage has explained upon this orb, all their findings, everything like that, and not only that, the runic patterns that they are on there. Minato looked at the design and he goes, if you were to place this, and looked at it together, and what he does was, instead of just laying it out on a straight, flat surface, he rolled up the paper and turned it into a form of a ball. And as he did so, it looked exactly like what was on the board, but he was able to put the writing into perfect sequence, in this actual perfect sequence, and he wrote it in the scroll of sealings too. And as he puts all the runic marks all around, they decipher into 7 different categories. And he believes these all enter into a name, distinction, and what they can do, just by Minato's own logic. But he realizes that in these runic marks on this perfectly hardened sphere, he instantly sees something. When he finishes writing the last part, he looks at it and he touches the orb, and the orb lights up only briefly, and goes back into its dim state. The moment Minato sees this, he understands now that the second Hokage was right. This thing is absolutely special. He felt it the moment he touched it. He got to see briefly what was inside of it, despite it only being brief like that. And so what happens, instead of Minato locking the orb back in its place, he takes the orb with him. He takes it home so he can study it fully. And so what happens is, for Minato, this orb pretty much doesn't go into obscurity like the first Hokage at all, gets locked away. No, Minato takes it around and gives the orb some form of experience. You get what I mean? And so as he lives his life as the Hokage, and the fact that his son is about to be born, Minato starts to slowly but surely crack at this orb, realizing that these runic marks are the reason why this is slowly but surely activating. And so when Minato gets to the point where he's able to at least activate it. He chants out a word that he believes. He tries to believe this is correct, but he chants out a word, and he looks deeply at it properly, and he goes, "Morning star, Alden or Alden." I think this is how you say what's it called, Merlin's sacred treasure. I'll do a bit next time, but yeah, he says the morning star Alden word, and as he does that, the orb itself instantly activates and floats in the air, and a projection of Merlin immediately comes out and goes, "Greetings, my name is Merlin, and I come from a realm far, far from here." Now, if you're receiving this message, this is just a pre-recorded situation that's happened. Now, just to let you know, it will take a few years for this energy within the orb to catch up, but just to let you know that you have succeeded in the first part of acquiring the power within the sacred treasure. My name is Merlin, and as the orb does that, it instantly deactivates and lands in Minato's hand, and it shocks him completely. He's like, "What the?" And he's just like, one, he buzzes out there was a near naked woman that appeared right in front of him. Two, she was speaking and buzzed him out that this woman is floating in front of him. And three, this is an absolute powerful object that he can't believe he's actually just held in his hand. And he thinks about something. And so what happens is, as Minato keeps this orb with him at all times, he wears it as a form of a necklace. Well, not like a necklace, like a waistband, holds it on him so he doesn't lose it. And then what happens is, just like in canon, Kushina gives birth to Naruto. Minato's there with Kushina when Naruto was born. The masked man instantly attacks, to which Minato is able to not only easily take him out, but easily beats the Nine Tails. Because I can say that right now, Minato, if you watch the anime, Minato is the man. Takes out Obito, even though not knowing, just deducing his powers right then and there, and then takes out the Nine Tails. Far quicker than the first Hokage, and I must say, did it far quicker than the first Hokage. Yeah, but then again, the first Hokage was fighting Madara, so I'll give that leeway. Yeah. But anyway, so that all goes down the same. It goes all the way to the point where they're about to seal Naruto. Now, as Minato holds the orb, or keeps the orb with him, and he gets punctured by the Nine Tails, all that goes the same when Minato seals half the Nine Tails within him, and him and Kushina get stabbed by the Nine Tails. Now, what ends up happening before Minato seals the Nine Tails within Naruto, the orb briefly activates, and Minato sees this, and he holds the orb, and he goes, "I hope this works." And he does the same seal, but he seals not only the Nine Tails, but this orb within his son. And then Minato not only put more of his chakra in, but he put more of Kushina's chakra in the Nine Tails seal to add to the protection, just so Naruto can at least acquire this power. Because Minato has a plan. He knows this orb is special and it's sentient. It's not stupid. So maybe we'll see the likeness of Naruto as for Minato. So as Minato dies, just like a canon, Kushina dies, Naruto from here lives the same exact life. No different. The orb don't activate, and the orb is sealed within Naruto. Pretty much how Sasuke seals the kunais on his wrist. Similar to that, but it's sealed within the seal of Naruto. So when you enter the Psycho plane, the Nine Tails is by its cage, and this orb is floating in the middle of space. So that's how Merlin's sacred treasure is. Now, as for Naruto, yeah, as I stated, he lives the same life he does in canon. He grows up being scrutinized for something that he's actually a benefit for the village. Honestly, it just blows my mind. Naruto is chastised for something that he didn't do. They pick on him because he's this loner, this little monkey kid, you know. And so as Naruto plays up and still goes around painting around the school, the village, Naruto doesn't realize that he's actually being watched this whole time, and not by the demon fox behind the cage, by the sacred treasure itself. Thanks to Minato sealing the sacred treasure within Naruto, the sacred treasure was able to awaken fully, and we will find out the reason why Merlin actually stayed in such a deep suspended sleep and left a pre-recorded message on it. But anyway, as Naruto continues and lives with his life, he still has the same problems with chakra control. And don't get me wrong, Naruto's still good at his own way of taijutsu and his own skill and agility, but Naruto still goes through the same basis of being a fool with shadow clones, being a fool with chakra, still being a fool. And so as Naruto fails 3 times, he's still that same fool. And when he reads the scroll of sealings, he still learns the multi-shadow clone jutsu. But what happens is he reads the descriptions right next to it, and he reads out, and when he looks at all of the writing, the 7 names that are written down on the transcriptions, and when I say 7 names, the third Hokage didn't know what he was actually writing down, neither the second Hokage, but because Naruto doesn't know that, thanks to him having the sacred treasure within him, he's able to slowly but surely discern the names. And as Naruto reads down as followed, he reads down Meliodas, Dragon Son of Wrath; Dian, Serpent Son of Envy; Ban, Fox Son of Greed; King, Grizzly Son of Sloth; Gotha, Goat Son of Lust; Merlin, Boar Son of Gluttony; and Escanor, Lion Son of Pride. And as Naruto reads all those names, the spirit, the sacred treasure within Naruto instantly begins to fully awaken. And what ends up happening is Merlin projects herself outside into the real world right in front of Naruto, but in a way she kind of freezes time and introduces herself. And then she goes, "My name is Merlin. Thank you for waking me up. Now, where?" And when she looks around, she don't see the person that activated the first time, but she sees a tiny version of him. She goes, "Are you Minato Namikaze?" And Naruto's like, "Who's that?" And she goes, "How interesting." And she looks at this boy and she goes, "You are not this Minato, but you have his bearing. And the same energy that I feel within you slightly registers with him as well. Okay." And she looks around, she goes, "Strange. This world is very strange." And Naruto's like, who are you? And what the hell are you doing here?" And as Merlin turns around, she goes, "Oh, well, I just explained to you, young man. My name is Merlin. And you, in essence, summoned me." And Naruto's like, "I summoned you?" And what happens is she goes, "Yeah, you read those inscriptions exactly the way it was written down, right?" Naruto looks at it and goes, "Yeah, but that's not the writing on my... What the hell?" Naruto drops the scroll of ceiling and goes, "This can't be happening. I can't be seeing this. A woman floating in mid-air, come out of nowhere talking to me. I'm going crazy. I'm going real crazy right now." Merlin snaps her fingers and goes, "Oh, I'm real. As I told you, my name is Merlin. And now I need to explain everything to you, because I don't want to hold this area for too long. I'm sure you have a life. So I'll just explain. I come from a world far, far away from here. I kind of explain a time period where, there's no form of connecting my reality to yours, in a sense. For all intents and purposes, I am stuck here in this time, ready and waiting to protect this realm." Naruto's like, "What?" And she smiles at Naruto and goes, "You're very fortunate indeed. Just by being in here, I'm able to discern and read your mind, know who you are and where you come from. Your name is Naruto Uzumaki. You have the demon fox sealed within you." And Merlin looks within Naruto and sees the Nine Tails. And as the Nine Tails sees Merlin, he's like, "Who the hell are you?" Okay, Merlin smiles and she turns away. And as the Nine Tails tries to leak the chakra out of Naruto's cage and into where Merlin's sacred treasure is, Merlin just turns her hands and does a perfect cube barrier between her and the Nine Tails chakra, and it prevents the Nine Tails chakra from getting anywhere near Merlin. And as the Nine Tails get shocked, Merlin uses her reversal spell to push the Nine Tails chakra back within the seal, and then she adds to the seal itself to prevent the Nine Tails evil chakra from influencing the boy. And as Merlin does that, Naruto's like, he's still trying to wrap his head around things, And as Merlin comes back, she goes, "Oh, sorry, so where were we? So, just to let you know that in you saying all those names, you slowly but surely have acquired the first level of their powers." And Naruto's like, "Say that again? I've acquired powers." And she goes, "It'll come at you slowly, here or there. But when eventually you come to master the powers, you get to the point where you become so powerful that your power even rivals the sun. As Naruto's looking, but Merlin smiles and goes, this is going to be wonderful. I can't continue my experiments like I used to do in my world. However, observation, planning, and even studying the tailed beast within you, yes, will keep me occupied cool for the next few thousand years. Naruto's like, what? And she goes, well, until next time, Naruto. And as Naruto leaves, she goes, oh, and by the way, memorize all those names. They will come in handy for you. Trust me. And as Naruto does that, he goes, And what happens is, as Naruto goes to try to read all the names begin to burn up on the book, on the scroll of ceilings. It begins to disappear. Naruto doesn't know why. He doesn't know why it disappeared, but he's like, damn it! He can only remember one name right now, and that's all he has in his head. And Naruto's like, he's like, oh no! I didn't even practice the multi-shadow clone jutsu. I was too busy focused on that hot, near-naked lady. And then as Naruto comes out, he walks out and he starts to panic, and then out comes Minsuke. And as he comes out, he confronts Naruto and tells Naruto to hand over the scroll of sealing. And at first Naruto was going to hand over the scroll of sealing, but then he goes, no, I think I'm going to take it back to the third Hokage. And this is when Minsuke shows his true colors and calls out Naruto and pretty much belittles Naruto and puts him down. Mocks him, tells him everything. He's the demon fox, he's this and that. But Naruto braces for it. He takes it much more easier than canon, because one, Merlin pretty much made it clear to Naruto that he has all this. But thanks to her involvement, she put much more powerful protection for Naruto. So he is way more protected than canon. And two, Naruto is just, he's fully prepared, knowing that he has power, extra power that he can call upon. He just needs to say the words. And so as Naruto stands there, Minsuke is about to attack Naruto. Naruto is about to scream a word out, but what ends up happening is Iruka jumps in, tackles Naruto, and takes a demon wind shuriken in the back. And then as Iruka gets hit, Naruto's like, what the? And Iruka's like, run Naruto, run! And as Naruto runs away like in canon, he runs behind a tree, and Minsuke comes and starts to beat down on Iruka, beat him down. And as Iruka starts the same thing in canon, He lifts Naruto's spirit and puts it on a new pedestal. That's pretty much what Merlin did for Naruto as well, when she told him that he has acquired powers at this present time that he can only acquire by saying the names, but he has to remember the names, okay? So he's seen them once, he just needs to remember the names. So as Naruto's standing there, he comes in, he rushes instantly and kicks Minsuke in the face, but it doesn't do nothing much at first. It just annoys him, and as Naruto goes, you'll never lay a hand on my sensei again. And he goes, is that right, brat? And how you gonna stop me? Naruto smiles, and he goes, by using this. He goes, Dragon Son of Wrath, Meliodas. And as Naruto says Meliodas, what happens is Meliodas' blade immediately appears in Naruto's hand, the demon sword Lost Vein. As Naruto holds Lost Vein, he sees what he needs to do with this ability. He knows what it can do immediately, and as Naruto holds the blade, he looks straight at Minsuke and immediately disappears, and he appears behind him and begins to attack. And as Minsuke tries to attack Naruto with the demon wind shuriken, Naruto instantly breaks Minsuke's weapon and kicks him in the face, and then Naruto instantly and immediately does, he clones himself and makes 5 of himself. And then Minsuke does that, he sees that, he's like, what the? He goes to attack Naruto, but Naruto instantly deflects it, catches it. One of them gets poofed away, or gets cut away, or turns to nothing. Similar like how the shadow clones are. But the other 4 deal the damage. 2 of them cut both the back of the legs of Minsuke, and one of them pins one of the arm, and the other one cuts the other hand off. And as Naruto finishes that, he resummons the 5th clone again, and he puts the blade straight in Minsuke. And as Minsuke tries to be funny, Naruto and the 4 clones begin to beat him down immediately. And as Naruto instantly begins to beat him down, and Minsuke is on the ground, he picks up Iruka and takes him and the 5 clones, takes Iruka to the hospital, to which Iruka gets healed, and Naruto he takes back the scroll of ceilings to the third Hokage, to which he apologizes. And as Naruto drops off Iruka, Naruto retracts his sword that he has. A hilt instantly appears behind Naruto's back, and like instinct, he puts the sword back in its hilt. But what ends up happening is when he lets go of Lost Vein, it disappears immediately, and Naruto goes back to his normal oneself. There's no longer five of them no more. And as Naruto does this, he's like, incredible. And Merlin's like, that's just a snippet and taste of the power that you have acquired, young Naruto Uzumaki. Among your journeys, I will teach you how to slowly but surely learn them. Right now, you're not truly ready for the power of Meliodas, especially the dragon sin of Wrath's power anyway. Naruto's like, sins? Why are there sins? And she goes, in due time, Naruto Uzumaki, you'll learn the power and where it came from, and the purpose upon why this power exists in your realm. And Naruto goes, okay then. And so what happens is he ends up going to the third Hokage, and the third Hokage tells Naruto off from using such a devious jutsu, but he realizes that devious jutsu itself pretty much would have ended the third Hokage. Naruto, if he wanted to, he could have killed the third Hokage, you know, easy as. He wiped him out with the reverse 60 jutsu, you know. The third Hokage was gone. So Naruto goes back and he still finds that he's a stupid fool. He doesn't even know how to do shadow clones yet. But Iruka tries to pass Naruto, but he doesn't know if Naruto technically used chakra for that, because he said a word and then a blade appeared in his hand. So Iruka doesn't know if Naruto did that. So he asks Naruto if he can see him and if he can do another shadow clone, or if he can do some shadow clones again. And so as Naruto goes, he goes, damn it! And Merlin's like, Naruto? Naruto's like, whoa. And Merlin goes, understand this, Naruto. I'm gonna be here practically for the rest of your life. So, if you need be, just ask for information and I can do my best to help you. Right now, I'm projected into one of your libraries, and I've learned all the stuff in your Hidden Leaf libraries anyway. And I'm learning a lot when it comes to the scrolls in your village. And the notion of how you guys utilize your guys' form of magic. But I believe it's not magic in your realm. You believe it to be what is known as chakra, mental and spiritual and physical energy merged to one, to which, from my view, looks like magic. But hey, your realm has different rules and laws, so I will look at it by the views of your realm. Naruto's like, okay, and she goes, simply put, thanks to the Nine-Tails chakra that you had within you, it was actually thrown off your own chakra. But thanks to the seal that I placed, the extra seal I placed upon there, your chakra level itself has nearly gone back to its original power it should be if the Nine-Tails wasn't sealed upon you, so you'll have at least 90% of your full chakra. And not only that, thanks to the seal being up, your chakra flow itself is going back to normal, to the point where you can actually use jutsu. Naruto's like, what? And she goes, yes. If you weren't able to use jutsu, you weren't able to summon Lost Vein. Because I'm in a new realm, I had to connect the power of my sacred treasure to what is the nearest source of mana or energy, and in this case, chakra. Your own spiritual chakra, the chakra of the Nine-Tails, set the nature energy around. Very smart, but now the orb itself becomes self-sustaining thanks to my own power. My spirit is forever, and the chakra within my sacred treasure is bound by my own power of infinity. And then Naruto's like, infinity? What are you saying? And she's pretty much said, just follow my lead, Naruto. And so what happens is Naruto begins to practice using the shadow clones again. And when Naruto does the shadow clone, out of nowhere a perfect shadow clone appears. And Naruto's like, whoa, what the? Hey, that's nothing like the power I used when it came to summoning that sword. And she goes, no, because you're using chakra in this realm. You're using chakra. The sword uses the magic from the realm, from the wielder it once had. And Naruto's like, I still don't follow. And Merlin goes, makes sense, you're still a kid. And Naruto's like, yeah, sorry about that. Scratches his head. Merlin smiles at Naruto, goes, come on kid, we've got a long way to go. I'll train you as best I can. I am still learning myself upon how to use the energy of this realm, but I understand my power alone is sufficient enough to help you. And Naruto smiles, and so from there, the whole night Merlin teaches Naruto how to use the shadow clones fully and how to mold the chakra proper to the max. And not only that, because Merlin has seen and learnt upon how chakra is formed in the libraries due to her projectional abilities, she's able to give Naruto the hints upon how to walk on water and walls. Naruto doesn't know how to do it yet, okay, but he gets the hint. And now this Naruto is going to be different. It's not the fact that he's going to be a genius. It's going to be a Naruto that doesn't have, well, has 90% of his true chakra. The other 10% is going to be holding the Nine-Tails back. And why I say 10% is because Merlin's second barrier pushed the Nine-Tails chakra back so much that, well, when it allowed for Naruto to get majority of his chakra back. So he doesn't have the same restrictions in canon, and he actually going to be way more powerful too, just because of this, even without the Sin's powers and Merlin doing that. So just to let you know. And so the next day, Naruto goes into the academy, and he sees Iruka, and from there Naruto gives Merlin a nod. And because no one can actually see Merlin, because Merlin is a projection only through Naruto, Naruto smiles and looks out the window, but no one sees it. And as Naruto stands and goes, "Okay, Iruka Sensei, here goes." Naruto weaves the hand signs that he remembers seeing in the scroll ceiling, and he goes, "Multi-Shadow Clone Jutsu!" And as Naruto does the multi-shadow clone jutsu, the whole class fills up with hundreds of Narutos everywhere. They actually fill the entire class up to where Iruka's like side to side. Every person is side to side with Naruto everywhere. And Iruka goes, you pass Naruto, everyone's feeling so uncomfortable having hundreds of Naruto around them. But Iruka's like, Naruto, disperse the shadow clones. So as the room packs up with Naruto, he disperses the shadow clones. And he cracks the laugh and goes, sorry about that, Iruka Sensei. And then Sasuke looks over at Naruto, he's like, what the hell? How did that dummy acquire so much chakra like that? Even be able to do a jutsu that high level, that powerful? I don't understand. Iruka even looks at Naruto like, how did he get such strong chakra control in one day? Like, looks around, Iruka can't explain it. He goes, what's happened with this boy? But Iruka's like, oh well, you proved your point. You proved that you actually are worthy of becoming a Genin, Naruto. So here you go. And what happens is Iruka gives Naruto the headband, and from there Iruka tells them that they need to stay in their class until they get chosen for their joining team. And just like in canon, everyone gets picked in their teams. I'm just going to leave the same 10 members in Team 7 because it needs to go around with the narrative. Okay, I've already changed enough when it comes to the 7 Deadly Sins series, so I won't change too much with the Naruto story. Instead, I'll keep it going the same pathway as near similar towards the canon one, just Naruto having super boss powers. But anyway, what happens is, as Naruto is placed in the team with Sasuke and Sakura at first was irritated with Naruto doing all those clones, but then she's buzzing out that Naruto can do all those clones. No one can do all those clones, so that's a big feat in itself. So she starts looking at Naruto in a weird way. Interested but irritated. And Sasuke is just interested and bothered in a different way. And so what happens is when they meet Kakashi, Naruto still pulls a prank, Sakura still tells on Naruto, and Sasuke drifts off into space outside, to which Kakashi is unimpressed. And when he tells them all to come upstairs and talk up on the balcony on the roof, this is where things go from canon, absolutely from here. Things from here go from Kakashi talking to Naruto and them, all the way to the point where the battle test is about to begin, goes near towards the canon with the characters' interactions. But it's Naruto's interaction after the situation happened that changes, okay? So when Naruto goes home after them talking on top of the Hokage or monument, whatever they do with Kakashi, Naruto goes back with goes home, and what happens is Merlin pretty much greets Naruto at his house, to which Naruto is pretty shocked. And Naruto buzzes out, and Merlin goes, does this look right? I'm trying to fit into the culture of your realm. Naruto goes, how does that work though? Because one, you can't be seen by other people. And Merlin goes, once you master the powers and acquire it within you, you're able to pull out the sacred treasure that's within you, Naruto. And then from there, I'm able to take a near physical form. Naruto's like, what the hell did you say? And Merlin laughs at Naruto's ignorance. And she pretty much tells Naruto to sit down, and she uses her magic to cook Naruto a feed. So from there, Naruto actually is being taken care of by Merlin. And not because Merlin wants to be their mother figure, but Merlin believes it's a necessity for Naruto to not only have, get good health, food and good health and all that stuff, but get Naruto to a point where he gets strong enough to wield all the 7 Deadly Sins powers. And not only that, if not only that, Naruto unlocks the full powers of each 7 Deadly Sins. You know, and if you guys are a 7 Deadly Sins fan, you would understand absolutely what I mean, okay? The full powers of each and every sin. And so what happens is Naruto gets filled in why the sins' names are who they are and what they were and where they came from, but not the full story. Just Meliodas was the captain of the 7 Deadly Sins. He was the dragon sin of wrath, and the power he used and the weapon he used is Lost Vein. And Naruto's okay then. And then Merlin goes, Goes to Naruto, if I'm correct, your next ability may be Dian. Naruto's like, Dian? But doesn't that sound like a girl's name? And Merlin goes, hush now. Merlin, and what does Merlin sound like? A male's name. And Naruto's like, it's a weird name too. And Merlin looks at Naruto. Naruto goes, well, if you look at it, yeah, it could be either as well. Merlin looks at Naruto and was still like, huh. And she pretty much just tells Naruto, but gives him a little debriefing, and then Naruto goes to sleep to which he gets ready for the next day with Kakashi. Now from here, the battle test nearly goes all the same. Merlin doesn't help Naruto, even though Naruto has better chakra control and can make way more shadow clones. Kakashi is no pushover at all. If Naruto from the original Naruto character to the Shippuden era wasn't barely able to beat Kakashi, and Kakashi was able to take on Naruto and Sakura, imagine these little kids, Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura, you know? They suck so bad compared to Kakashi. But what ends up happening is Naruto slowly but surely begins to learn his abilities. Not that he doesn't just rely on the Meliodas' abilities, but he likes using the sword, Lost Vein. And as Naruto begins to proceed, he tries something instinctively comes to his mind, as when he looks in his mind and he sees the sword able to deflect fire. And so what happens is, as Kakashi shoots a fireball jutsu towards Sasuke's position, Naruto sees this and rushes towards her, and instantly says, full counter! And he hits the fire style that Kakashi sends at Sasuke, and Naruto deflects it straight at Kakashi, towards Kakashi has to jump away, and the, what's it called? Kakashi's like, what the hell? Naruto and Sasuke both look at each other like, huh? But Naruto looks at his hand and he realizes his hand's injured, and he's like, damn! And what happens, Merlin tells Naruto, you're not ready to use that power yet, Naruto. Not without you calling out the commandment itself of the power. Naruto goes, the commandment, she goes, the spell. The spell is in the name. You only used full counter, but you didn't use the power of Meliodas' full counter. And Naruto's like, how kind of stupid? And so what happens is, as Naruto is slightly taken back from Merlin, this is where Kakashi comes behind Naruto and does 1,000 years of death at him. Towards Naruto, absolutely regrets it. Merlin sees this, she's like, this is a really weird universe. And what happens is, from there, Naruto pretty much gets chained up because he didn't use the power correctly. Everything from here goes near the same, actually, because he's still a dork, okay? He just had someone talking in his ear, but he's still a dork. Sakura and Sasuke still give their food, and but Sasuke gives it with the words. He goes, I don't know why you didn't use your Shadow Clone ability like you did in your class, Naruto. But I also don't know how you were able to deflect that attack without having no barrier spells or nothing. You just shouted full counter. How curious, Naruto. And then Sasuke grabs Naruto's hand, and Naruto's injuries is absolutely healed by now. And Sasuke's like, what the? How did that happen? Naruto goes, I don't know. And he's still tied up. And as Sakura and talking, Kakashi comes and he makes it look like he's about to fail them. But what ends up happening is Kakashi passes them and says, great teamwork, guys. And the moment that happens, Naruto goes, awesome. He goes, Dragon Son of Wrath, Meliodas. And as Naruto does that, he instantly, purple energy envelops around his body, and he breaks out of the bindings immediately. And then Naruto deactivates the energy, but he collapses straight on one knee. Kakashi, Sakura, and Sasuke are like, what the hell? What the hell was that? And what happened is Merlin was like, interesting. He was able to summon a power like that. The power of Meliodas. I definitely felt demonic energy. She breathes out and she goes, definitely. How interesting. He goes, what did Arthur do to this power? And then as Merlin goes to search through the sacred treasure, what ends up happening is, thanks to the chaos energy within the sacred treasure, Arthur actually copied exactly all the 7 deadly sins back to their full power. So when Ban had his immortality, when Escanor was alive, when Gotha had his full power, when Dian had her full power, like all of them, thanks to the chaos energy, it was able to, all their power within the sacred treasure go to full power itself. And the chaos energy itself also made the sacred treasure of Merlin absolutely indestructible. And so that's why Merlin has devised certain names and certain runics and certain situations where you have to use to summon things that may slowly but surely awaken the power. And then Merlin sees that her affinity is actually tied fully to the power itself. she pretty much buzzes out because she never used the power of infinity twice. She's only ever used it once in the sense of coming to her timelessness, because she has an immortal spirit now. She doesn't need to use it on the infinity on her timelessness, and so she uses somewhat of the infinity when it comes to chakra. So she can manifest and use it whenever she needs, but this is only for experiments, okay? She doesn't have Ninetales large chakra or bloody Kisame large chakra. She just has a chakra of like a normal human that can use ninjutsu but is very, very weak. She only looks at that to see how things go, manifest, you know? Because she still has her own magic. But yeah, I rambled on. Anyway, just like in canon, Naruto and them pass the test with Kakashi, and from there they get their D rank missions. But what ends up happening is Naruto starts to utilize not only his abilities with the 7 deadly sins of powers of Meliodas, but he begins to utilize his own chakra, his own energy when it comes to his shadow clones, because as I stated, he's got 90% of his full chakra. So this Naruto is very powerful, and he's able to utilize shadow clones to a higher level degree than his childlike counterpart, and near towards the Shippuden counterpart arc actually, because of his chakra control. It's not as limited no more. So Naruto benefits a lot from this month and a half of D rank missions. He even learns how to walk on walls and water thanks to Merlin, to which Naruto relays to Sasuke and Sakura. And it still takes time, and Sasuke grows a jealousy and anger towards Naruto, because Naruto is better than him, and Sakura grows a sense of liking towards Naruto. Well, this different Naruto anyway. He's not such a loser. He's starting to sound much more better and better. And so from there, what happens is, as they Naruto and them head into the register area where they get assigned their missions, Naruto begs the third Hokage for them to get a new mission. Please, all these D rank missions are so beneath me. And as Naruto does that, Kakashi's like, normally you complain really loud. What the hell is going into you? And what happens is the third Hokage smiles and goes, well, you're in luck, Naruto Uzumaki, because you guys actually do have a C rank mission. Bring him in. And as Tazuna walks in, he sees Naruto and them, and he's like, pathetic. These little runts are meant to take care of me. Might as well just walk out now and just let them be done with it. And the third Hokage goes, you ask for shinobis, you get shinobi. Young or not, these kids are more capable even of taking you out. They're Tazuna. Tazuna's like, huh. Even that small little shrimp with the yellow hair. Naruto's like, hey, who are you calling small little shrimp? I am shorter than Sakura and Sasuke. Gah! Naruto gets angry, and Merlin feels Naruto's anger. But what Merlin doesn't expect is, with having a sacred treasure within Naruto's seal itself, she's slowly but surely connecting with Naruto's emotion. So she's slowly but surely feeling Naruto's pain, his sadness, his happiness, his anger, all that stuff, just in association with the power. So what happens is Kakashi and his team accept the Tazuna Bridge mission, and they head out immediately to the Land of Waves. And what happens is, when the two demon brothers attack, they seemingly kill Kakashi and about to attack Tazuna, to which Sasuke reacts much more quicker than Naruto and is able to take them out. And what happens is, as Sasuke looks at Naruto, goes, are you going to stand there and look like a scared little boy, Naruto? What was all that training for? Face it, Naruto, when we're out in the real world, death comes and it's certain if you're not prepared. And as Sasuke explains it to Naruto, Naruto's like pretty blown away that Sasuke gave his own form of Talk no Jutsu. But that motivated Naruto, motivated him enough to not be scared of his power now, to use his power. And what happens is, Naruto remembers one name that he might use when it comes to the battles anyway. And so as they go forward, Naruto and them go within the forest anyway. Just like in canon, they all instinctively, or what happens is Kakashi ducks, Sakura and all duck, Naruto duck, and what happens is Zabuza's big ass executioner blade is hanging off a tree, looking down at Naruto and them. And as what happens is Zabuza comes down and appears between them and goes to attack, Kakashi instantly kicks Zabuza away, and they begin their awesome taijutsu battle. But what ends up happening is, as Kakashi's been held in a water prison because he's a fool, and Zabuza does a water clone, Naruto is panicking because he knows even with the power of Lost Vein, he's actually much more weaker than this big being that's right in front of him. Even with multi-shadow clones, all he'll do is slow this being down, and Kakashi will die. And so Naruto begins to panic, being backed up in the corner. He instantly realizes the name he needs to say. And as this fake Kisame goes to swing at Naruto, Naruto pretty much looks within himself, and he goes, "Serpent Sin of Envy, Dian." And as Naruto does this, a gold energy envelops around her only briefly, with Kisame's sword about to hit Naruto, Naruto pulls a kunai immediately and lifts up his kunai, and as he lifts it up, Kisame's Samihara hits the kunai and gets instantly deflected, and Naruto rushes to the water clone and without hesitating throws a massive punch, and as Naruto punch hits the water clone, it not only destroys the water clone but sends the debris flying to the real Zabuza. And as Naruto rushes to Zabuza, he shows that he can run on water to Zabuza's shock. And as Zabuza sees Naruto rushing, he tries to time it right, and he goes. And as Naruto appears right next to him and is about to throw a kunai at what's the name, Zabuza, Zabuza goes, "Got you, brat!" Slams the sword straight on down on Naruto, and without even hesitating, Naruto instinctively goes, "Heavy metal!" And as Naruto turns his skin into metal, Zabuza's blade completely breaks on Naruto's skin, and because he did that, he released his hand from Kakashi's prison. Naruto's last reserves of chakra hit Zabuza right in the face, sending him flying, and Naruto hit face first into the water because he used too much energy at one time. And what happens is, from there, Kakashi does his thing, beats down Zabuza to the point where Haku has to interfere, and from there, Haku and Zabuza leave. Kakashi, Sasuke, Naruto, Sakura, and Tazuna go back to the area where he stays, and they begin to do the rebuilding of the Tazuna Bridge. Well, the Tazuna Bridge at the moment, sorry. Blech. And from there, Kakashi begins to train their teams. But because Naruto already has a real strong grip on walking on water and trees, and somewhat Sasuke does as well, it makes it easier for Kakashi just to focus on Sakura. And not only that, Kakashi looks at Naruto and goes, "Naruto, how did you make yourself so strong? How did you make yourself full metal?" And Naruto goes, "I can't explain to you, Kakashi Sensei, and you won't believe me anyway. Team or not, you just won't believe me. I need to focus." And Kakashi's quite shocked to hearing that Naruto stating that, And so as Naruto begins to meditate, he begins to go backwards and forth in the powers he uses. He looks back and he goes, "Dragon Son of Wrath, Meliodas." And as Naruto begins to power up with that purple energy, he holds a lost vein in his hands, and Naruto instantly spins around and cuts the sword in the air. And as Naruto cuts the sword in the air, a purple-black fire instantly appears at the tip of the sword, and leaves a black streak right across the sky. And as Naruto realizes, he goes, "I'm starting to get more powerful with the powerful of Meliodas." Naruto resheaves the sword, to which it disappears, and then Naruto looks around and he goes, "Okay then." He goes, and he begins to power up, and he goes, "Serpent Sin of Envy, Dian." Naruto's body instantly gets a little bit more buff, and he feels the strength flow over him. And then from there, Naruto begins to push himself even more. He makes shadow clones, to which the shadow clones have near equal the strength of the original. And they train. Naruto just trains himself, get himself stronger, to the point where Naruto pretty much blacks out. And then when Naruto overuses energy, he's still confronted by the same weird person, that after a period of time he realizes that you're a dude, right? But this is where Naruto learns. He absolutely learns his ninshu or nindo, whatever his way, from Haku stating that someone to protect, And so from there, as the situation progresses all the way until the bridge, Naruto does come late, and Kakashi is fighting Zabuza, and Sasuke is in the midst of fighting Haku. Now, just like in canon, this Naruto runs in headfirst stupidly and breaks right through. Even though he has lots of chakra, he's not invincible. Not yet, anyway. And so, just like in canon, Sasuke and Naruto are pretty much caught into what's it called, Haku's ice prison. And from there, Haku begins to show him their true speed. How Naruto and Sasuke don't even stand a chance. And then, as Naruto and Sasuke are looking, Naruto's like really angry, and he uses the power of Dian to at least block as much power or attacks that he's getting hit with. And then from there, Naruto instantly fully powers up even more, and he begins to power with the Dragon Son of Wrath, Meliodas. And as Naruto states that, the Dragon Son of Meliodas, Naruto instantly erupts with purple energy, and a symbol appears over Naruto's head. And as Naruto does this, he erupts immediately with all this energy, destroying Haku's mirrors. and showing a more menacing look in Naruto's eyes. Unlike when Naruto looks with the Nine Tails chakra, now this is the black eyes of a demon, pretty similar to Meliodas. In fact, as Naruto stands over there, he looks at Haku and Naruto gets angry. He gets really angry and he channels his wrath. What happens is, Merlin tells Naruto, instead of building this wrath up and letting it explode, channel the wrath into the sword. So to which Naruto does, and as Haku begins to jump around and chucking sin bones at Sasuke and Naruto instantly deflects it with a sword. And by this time, Zabuza and Kakashi have sensed Naruto's abilities, powers, and Naruto, in a blink of an eye, jumps up straight away and he blitzes straight to Haku. And as Haku looks right at Naruto looks right at him and he goes to attack. Haku deflects the attack just quick enough, but Naruto's attack also spreads like a black-purple flame everywhere that begins to mount all the ice that Haku is trying to project. And as Naruto's blitzing around, showing Haku the difference in speed, Naruto's starting to get deeper and starting to like this power. Starting to deeply like this Meliodas power, and as Naruto begins to press Haku, he instantly also presses Zabuza, giving Kakashi some room, And as Naruto begins to both press Zabuza and Haku, Kakashi's buzzing out, and Merlin tells Naruto, you need to stop now. I've shown you enough of the power of Meliodas. Now you need to understand why the power of wrath should be one of the last powers you learn to master. You don't realize it, but you are instantly tainted by the power itself. You go deeper and deeper, not realizing the consequences of your actions. You're not only dealing damage to the enemy, but thanks to your ability itself, is slowly but surely burning the bridge, putting your friends in danger, even Sasuke himself. And as Naruto looks around, he realizes that, and she goes, power the energy of Meliodas down fully, Naruto. I don't think you're ready for it right now. But however, the power of the end you're ready for, and also, I believe, you should say this name. The power of King. Naruto means the grizzly son of sloth, and she goes the very one. And Naruto instantly powers down the Meliodas powers, and he pulls down the fire that's all around, all that purple energy. And as Sasuke, Sakura, and Tazuna, and Kakashi, and everyone's looking at Naruto, and as Naruto does this, Naruto goes, okay, let's give it a go. Naruto jumps up and goes, grizzly son of sloth, King! And as Naruto does that, he instantly begins to float immediately and flies up in the air. Naruto grabs a kunai in his hands. Naruto looks at it and goes, you won't be the true spirit spear chastiful, but you'll be good substitution. My mighty kunai. And as Naruto holds it, he chucks it right at Zabuza, and as he chucks it, Zabuza deflects it, but Naruto instantly begins to spin it around and remote control the kunai, and Zabuza is trying to dodge this attack, and then Haku tries to attack Naruto. Naruto somehow, he's able to break the kunai into 10, and instantly sends 5 to attack Zabuza, while the other 5 attack Haku. And as Sasuke, Sakura, and Kakashi are watching this, they're instantly buzzing out that one Naruto's floating in the air. And Naruto is directing 2 battlefields just with his hands alone. And as Naruto does this, he instantly breaks the 5 kunai that are fighting both Haku and Zabuza into another 10. So another 5, so there's 10 of them. But this is when it gets much more trickier. Naruto instantly pierces Zabuza on the shoulder, arms and legs. Zabuza tries to swipe with them, but they instantly destroyed the executioner blade and pin it to the ground. And then Naruto instantly begins to wrap the kunais all around Zabuza. And as Haku tries to rush to save Zabuza, Naruto instantly pins Haku's feet into the ground like nails. And then Naruto instantly pins Haku's hands both together, clams them together with the kunai, and then pierces the back of Haku, slamming them into the ground. And then Naruto uses all the kunais that are pierced into both of them, but it leaves 2 out on each of them, around them, ready. So if they try, and I think Naruto will plunge them all 4 of the kunai into 2 into Zabuza and 2 into Haku's head, ending them immediately. And as Naruto pulls them down and claps them onto the ground, Naruto smiles and goes, you'll bow to the power of King. And as Naruto says that, Merlin goes, very cheesy, very cheesy. I don't think the actual Fairy King himself wouldn't be that bold to state like that. He was too scared to show it, especially around humans, his fear. Naruto looks in his mind and goes, humans? And she goes, story for another time, Naruto. And as Naruto flies down, he powers down, he instantly goes, huh. And Kakashi's like, wow, Naruto. Everyone's like, wow. Even Sasuke's like, where did Naruto pull this power out? And Sakura can't believe it. She's like, incredible. But something in the back of all their minds still stick. That purple energy that Naruto just used. It felt such like no one's ever felt such evil power before. Even the Nine Tails power doesn't even come close to the evil that Naruto just projected, and it was only like a little drop of power that Naruto used compared to the gigantic river or the gigantic flood of energy Naruto has behind Meliodas. Even the Nine Tails senses this power and feels and fears it. And so Naruto swears to Merlin that he will not use the power of Meliodas until he masters the rest of the other sins. And so from there, Tazuna calls it the Great Naruto Bridge. But he doesn't call it yet, not right away, not until Gato's men are dealt with. And that's what happens. Because Kakashi is practically near full strength, and Sasuke didn't get as injured in canon. Kakashi just ends them, but Naruto also helps as well. Naruto uses his kunai. He says this the grizzly son of Sloth, king, and he uses remote control kunais, but he can only do 5 of them. But he's able to take as much out as Kakashi. Naruto's able, and so when Gato is all alone, he's pretty much taken out by Kakashi immediately, and the bridge is still called the Great Naruto Bridge. And so from there, Kakashi has to pretty much carry Naruto because he's still quite tired from using so much power in such a brief time, especially using the Dragon Son of Wrath. But right now, Naruto doesn't even know what's even like to use power yet. He hasn't even come close to even scratching the surface of sunshine. And so as Naruto and Kakashi, Sasuke and Sakura head back to the village, Sasuke asks Naruto, how did you use this power? Are you using wind style, chakra, jutsu? Like, what the hell are you using, Naruto? And how are you able to fly all of a sudden? And Naruto looks down and goes, sorry, Kakashi. And Kakashi's like, wait. I carried you nearly the whole way back to the Hidden Leaf village and you're able to fly? And Kakashi has a dumbfounded look, and Naruto lastly goes, yeah, sorry about that, Kakashi sensei. I got so comfortable, I actually was actually cool. I actually fell asleep back there. And Kakashi's like, I knew it. That wasn't just bloody rain from the bloody tree. You dribbled on me. And as Naruto laughs and Kakashi's like feeling like really sad, they head back into the village and debrief Lady Tsunade upon what happened in the mission. And people are talking about Naruto. Not only just in the Land of Waves, word gets back to the Hidden Leaf that Naruto not only emitted such a demonic power, but he looked graceful with the attack that he used against Gato and his men. And so Naruto makes a name for himself at this present time. And so what happens is Kakashi comes to Naruto and Sasuke and Sakura, and he brings forth the notion of them entering the Chunin exam. Sasuke, Naruto and Sakura all accept. And that's where we're going to leave this one off, guys. I hope you like this. Please like and subscribe. Leave your comments down below. Leave the bell notification on so you guys can be the first to get my new content. And follow me on Instagram, to which I'll leave the link in the description below. But yeah, I hope you guys like this. It's the first time for this. Yeah, I know the Green Lantern crossover was much more easier because, one, I know everything to do with DC. I love DC. I love Marvel comics, all that. So that's easy. The 7 Deadly Sins universe, I'm still getting there. Okay, I've read all the manga, but I'm still getting there, if you get what I mean. Now, understand, a lot of I did take from the manga. At the same time, I made my own accounts for it to go. Okay, guys, so I know it doesn't happen in the manga. Just bear with me. But yeah, I hope you guys like this. And as usual, guys, this is Dr. Kahu saying peace.